Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Introduction to Business. Today we're going to be talking Human Resource Management, or Chapter 11, Section 11. You're taking me on an online class or a face-to-face class, and this is a supplement utilizing my conceptual maps or mind maps that are available to you through Blackboard Course Management System. You're already be using Learn Smart software technology, so when you're doing the homework, when you're doing those exercises to see, after you read it and done the interactive exercises to help you retain and improve your understanding of the concepts, print out my mind maps and go along. I'll go quickly. This is not a full lecture. This is a supplement to our discussions within Blackboard online within our forum, or this is a supplement to the discussion and debate we've had in the classrooms. Okay, so we'll go on. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. You already know the procedures. Let's just bring this in here. Let's see, we'll view, and I'll go through it. Remember, we discussed it. You read about it. You used the software, so you have a good understanding. This is just as a summarization. Note down anything that you might have missed. So when you're taking the exam, you'll have all the key concepts in here. And this is going to be a part of a requirement for the feasibility paper that you'll be doing for this course. It's a requirement in the presentation you'll be giving to the other your other team members, or presenting a PowerPoint online if you're taking me fully online. All right, so let me see. Let me just make this a little bit of the program I'm using. People sometimes ask. I create these off from the reading and information from your as a supplement to the author. It's called MindChat. It's a business program. Let's see, maybe two. Okay, so now you can see it. The first thing, what is Human Resource Management, or HRM? So when I look at HRM, the process of determining human resource needs, recruiting, selecting, developing, motivating, evaluating, compensating, scheduling employees to achieve organizational goals. In many medium to larger corporations, HR is a separate department that does all these things and assists the manager and the administration in achieving these goals. Rarely does HR does the firing. It's still a function of a managerial. In smaller companies, organizations, you may wear several hats. You may be the marketing and an HR person. You may be the operations manager and the HR person. So you have several different hats. In that situation, you'll be the one most likely who will be terminating or doing any kind of disciplinary action. Remember, HR is supposed to be that neutral body for, even though it's a managerial function, but it's the neutral body that employees of all levels could communicate, and they are the mentor or the individual to find that balance between the employees' needs and the company's needs. Okay, so HR has grown because of increased recognition of employees as a resource. That's our number one resource, is employees. Changes in the law that rewrote old workplace practices. You have laws and requirements. We're going to be talking about different, like the civil rights law, discrimination. I'll briefly go across with those, because basically there'll be a little bit more information provided when you take a business law and business law 1 or 2. Ultimate resource is not to be underemployed. I don't have an individual that I'm paying top money and they're not performing or to their potential because of my limitations or because of the company, the way it's set up. So what happens when I find those, I'll either find more work for that individual, or try to, from an HR perspective, try to make sure that I'm using the resources to its full potential. And that's part of the economics that we've done in Chapter 2. It's the resources, people are resources, and how do I use them effectively. Okay, what's the legal requirement? We talked about that. Recruiting, selecting. I gotta look at the laws, training, development. I'm not discriminatory, that it does help a diverse type of a population or workforce that I'm basically managing now. Compensation and benefits, that's just fair. We read about that women get paid less. They do, and we'll talk about later on when we go into a comparable word. But if I'm a plumber, a grade or a first line plumber, or a first line number one electrician on the scale, whether I'm a male, female, African American, Middle Eastern, whatever. I have to, if I'm doing the same job and I've taken the same thing, my pay should be equal. Seniority has a little different, seniority or experience. That's something else. But everyone will. But overall, the pay is consistent with everybody else. Okay, and scheduling, I don't discriminate in that. Employee union relationships, we'll talk about why unions are basically active or not active, and career management goals. Okay, so what are the challenges for HR, a human resource, finding high-level workers? There's a lot of workers out there, but do they have the knowledge and the tools that I need? Are they team workers? Do they work in teams? Do they have the technical knowledge, the computer skills that I need? Because even in manufacturing, they're not the everyday laborer. There is some parts of it, but you have to be able to program machines, look at the different variances, and be able to understand technology because it is part of the production process. Or if even I'm hiring a new individual, let's say for an instructor here at any of the schools, you have to be able to be current in your field, able to utilize the technology required for your field, and also able to utilize and understand the learning and technology utilized as an instructor. In this case, Blackboard or flipping a classroom or YouTube, as you see myself presenting to you. Employment at will. That means employees could quit at their employees can quit whenever they want. Okay. Employer can fire whenever they want. Illinois is one that has employment at will. I could fire you because I don't want because I could just fire you. So I don't need you anymore. No reason why you're fired. So, but then you could leave me at the same time. And, and like I said, we're summarizing. Just remember, Illinois employment well. If you're not sure, go back into the readings and find more information on that. Shortage of trained workers in key areas, worker shortage in skilled areas. We don't have enough skilled people. You have to have a balance, right? A declining economy, fewer full-time jobs. Most of you will be working 3 or 4 jobs, will be equivalent to 1 full-time job. I like that flexibility as an instructor. I teach at several colleges. I'm not tied down to one, but I understand I have a different, a steady flow of income, or a flow of income coming in from different sources, and that's what most people are doing now. It's nice to have a full-time job, but those jobs and those positions are shorter. As you see, most companies are being very flexible. They have a core set of employees, and the rest either contract out or bring in as a temporary. It's just the nature of the beast as it is going now. Increasing benefits, the demands and benefit costs. You got the what do you call it, affordable health care, and you have different benefits that vacation or pay. That's what brings people in, the good employees, so they don't leave. So I have to offer them something so they stay at least for 5 years or 6 years. Okay, Civil Rights Act. I'll go real quickly. We've already been there. Title 7 prohibits discrimination, hiring, firing, apprenticeship, training, condition, and privileges, and it also ties into a race, religion, creed, sex, age, and national origin. Just be aware. Most of us already know that. I'm not going to go in there. When I look at the EEOA, let me just go in here into the dictionary. Equal Employment Opportunity Act. It strengthens, gave the right to issue workplace guidelines for acceptable employee conduct. It tells me how as an employee should do. Could mandate specific record-keeping procedures, and was vested with the power of enforcement. So I could find and do bring you into compliance with what the rules are. Okay, controversial procedures for the EEOC is basically affirmative action. The policy designed for past wrong by increasing opportunities for minority and women in the workplace. Remember, that's affirmative action. Reverse discrimination against whites or males in hiring and promoting. You see that in academic, where they're going to say, hey, they're looking at certain just by let's say by cultural background or by race. I'm African American, so that's to help African Americans to help them get education because of the social environment that they, by no fault, are involved. So it helps them go on. So they have to say, the policy said you'd have a certain percentage, you'd have African American. The problem was that African Americans that, because it's an African American, they're not looking at it. Is it really helping the African American, because the African Americans that are coming in, not all, remember, I'm just generalizing, but if you're looking what the controversy is, that a lot of those African Americans, they're in a different social class, they're already in economic class, they're already in a middle or higher income, but they're coming in there because of their ethnic background, where they're saying it should be by the social to help people who are in a lower economic status for whatever reason, to bring up and move up into the middle class. That's not up to me. I'm just telling you the difference. So, reverse discrimination policy has been the center with many debates and lawsuits. That's going out there. So just understand there. Follow the laws as it is. As long as you are diversified, and diversified is if I'm serving a population, a general demographic that has 50% Caucasian and 50%, for lack of better words, African Americans, or 50% or 50 to 25% African Americans, 25% of Hispanics, right? My workforce should be a reflection of that. That's good diversification. That's good work practices. So now I'm serving the customers. I understand the customers' needs within that demographic. If I have all Caucasian in that area, that's when the affirmative action comes in and say, hey, are you going to tell me that in this area you're serving and you're operating that there's no one qualified? And you could say, come back and say, if you're in the Barrington area or in some of the Lake Forest, sure, there's minorities in there, but not the high percentages. So if I'm working there, it would be hard for me to get that from the local base, because they're just not there. There's smaller percentages. So the government's not going after you there, but if you have multiple sites nationwide, then they're looking at overall. Okay, something to understand as a business. If you're a small business under 50 employees, you should be right. You should do it because it makes good business sense as you're growing to get into things to be diversified. Because when I come to a store like this, if I'm predominantly in an African American or Hispanic store, I would like to see some Spanish speaking or individuals in there. Okay? Civil Rights Act of 1991, and we'll go through that. You learned that in high school. Grants victims of discrimination the right to jury trial possible damages. Office of Federal Contract Compliance Program ensures that employers doing business with the federal government comply with non-discriminatory affirmative action. Okay? Now, if I'm looking at the Americans with Disability Act 1990, requires employers to give applicants with physical and mental disabilities the same consideration for employment with people with disability. Requires reasonable accommodation. A reasonable accommodation, if I'm in a life support system, I'm not being derogatory, please. I'm going to the extreme when you look at it. I'm in a life support system, or I need all kind of oxygen, and it's just to retrofit for this employee to work. Let's say it'd be $100,000. That is not afford, and I'm only a small business. I don't even make $100,000. I may be making, with sales maybe 50,000 after profits, maybe they're making $50,000 maybe with some profitability. I cannot afford that. That's over and above what would be considered reasonable accommodation. If I'm coming in there and I have a visual impairment or a hearing impairment, I could buy there's equipment that doesn't cost me that much, maybe $300, $400, $500. I think the law set up to like $2,000, give or take. It depends on the case, the situation. So if I'm a bigger company, I could be able to afford more, but still, what's the reasonable accommodation? Okay, and passage of American Disability Act expanded to protect, shift a burden from the disabled from proof of disability from employees to employers. I have to prove that it's going to be that this individual is disabled, or that I've made the accommodation for them. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at the age discrimination employment for workplace discrimination, protects workers over 40 and over. My son hates that they're discriminating me because I'm younger. I said, yeah, they may be for whatever reason, but the Age Discrimination Employment Act doesn't cover you. You have to be over 40. And that looks at layoff, compensation, benefits, job assignments, training, firing, and promotion. Now, the human resource management planning process. Remember, I've done this. I'm just going real quickly so you can say, hey, I understand. There's a 5-6 step process. First, preparing the human. You need an inventory. What employees I have, what employees do I need, what employees are retiring, what employee percentage is going to be moving, how do I have succession planning in place, how do I already have a pool of candidates if something happens, where do I get it from? It could be from my part-time workers, it could be from my contractors, or I make outsource more. And And it all has to be understood. If I'm outsourced, if I outsource the whole operation, what do I do with the employees that weren't part of that operation? What's the ethical thing to do? What's the legal thing to do? Do I buy them out, or do I move them to another department and get rid of that operation? So there's laws and legality in there. You prepare a job analysis, and job analysis has two parts of it that we've learned: job description, job specification. We'll talk a little bit down in here. Assessing future resource demand. What do I need in the future? Am I looking for people with more technology, or if I'm looking for people with less technology, I have to be aware of that. I'm not sure if the music is recording. Okay, assessing future labor supply. If I'm a shortage of engineers or something else, do I make a commitment with the community colleges? I think community colleges, I teach at 2 community colleges in Illinois. Well, community colleges are excellent. Community college gives you a good solid foundation, not only for graduation, going to your 4-year university, but also for training and helping employees in the local economy to be successful. You come in there, you train them to keep up on their skills, not only for employees, but for managers and entrepreneurs and business owners. Establishing a strategic plan. What's my plan in the future? I can't just say it happened. I'm looking 3, 4, 5 years, especially if it's a workforce that's hard to get because of the technological skills. Do I look outside, or what are my resources? So if I'm looking at job analysis, remember that's part of the planning. It has 2 portions. A study what employee who holds various job titles does. This way it helps me in compensation. It helps me to see if it works well with my process. Remember, even if I'm a service, I have a process like a manufacturing. Does this employee have the skill set? If not, can I improve or motivate or require the employee to update their technical skills and send them to community college just for that one aspect, so now they're prepared, so when I bring technology, or I can see down the road we're going to be changing something in the process, that they are prepared. I don't have to go out and find another employee. This helps the morale and also helps the organization and customers build, because they have the continuancy. You don't have a whole bunch of different employees trying to learn a whole new mission and everything else we'll talk about. Okay, so job description specifies the objectives of the job. Okay, the type of work and the responsibilities, the duties and work conditions, and relationships to other jobs. This is basically job description. Job specification, a summary of minimum education and skills needed to do a particular job. Courts look for this for discrimination. If I say you have to clean the toilets, hey, do you like it or not? That's what you have to do. If I say you have to make coffee or whatever, that's your job, or other duties assigned, there's no issue with that. The issue comes in here if I say you, for this task, you have to be a little white Polish person, a Caucasian Polish person that speaks Polish or whatever. I have to be able to justify that I need this for the job, because all my customers are Polish speaking, so everyone that works in my organization, or a high percentage that I'm hiring for this customer service, has to be bilingual. It doesn't mean I have to be born in Poland, but it means that I could speak fluently Polish to my customer base. It helps when you're born from the country, because a lot of people can learn that because you understand the culture. Language is just one way of communicating, but I have to understand the words and the meaning behind the words. Okay? Now, recruitment. How do I recruit? This part of HR. Activities to make sure that I have the right number of people for the right job. Small business often make use of web sources like Career Builder or Monster to recruit. Those are a real good one. I would strictly my recommendation, those who are listening, if you're looking for employees, go to your community college. I teach at Harper Community College, and I teach at College Lake Harper's in Lake County, and College Lake County in Lake County, and they have a recruitment thing. They help the community members to find jobs. So you find somebody local that was laid off or retrained, and there you have a good placement. You get the best, you get a good employee. You get one that's trained. You get one to understand your specific needs in the local economy, and they have a commitment because they live in the community, and that's another thing that's a good thing when you're dealing with a customer base and bringing employees in for social responsibility as an organization that we talked previous chapters. Okay, externally get help wanted, public, newspapers, colleges. I really stress that. Temporary workers, bring temporary workers, and sometimes the temporary workers depend on your contractual agreement, as we discussed. I may want to hire them, and they may have to wait 3 months before. I mean, I don't hire them right away, because otherwise the temp's got to be looking for workers. But I say, hey, come back. I'm going to apply and talk to the temp organization and say, hey, I want to hire this employee, and I'm willing to pay, and I'll pay the penalty, whatever, for bringing them in a shorter time. Okay. Now the selection process. Remember, if I look at the selection process, it's like any kind of relationships. How do I bring the right individual in? We're not only looking at, we discussed in our forums and our lectures, it's not only just because I got the skill knowledge, I know the vocabulary, I know all that. I'm looking at the emotional intelligence, the social skills that's required for business. I have the knowledge, but how do I work in a team? How do I work with other people? So who should be hired under legal guidelines that fit the organizational needs and the individuals? Not only of the individual I'm hiring, but individuals in the team that I'm placing the individuals in. Okay? All right, steps in the selection process. Obtain a complete application form, and most of that is done online. When you're doing the application online, make sure you look at the job posting and put some of the keywords. If they're looking for someone who has time management, if they're looking for someone who is a team player, or someone who is whatever skill sets, an engineer or certification, make sure that's part of your resume. Most of the resumes are sent electronically, and they go through to something like you're doing a search engine in Google or anything else you put in. They send it in, and through all the resumes, they're looking for keywords that they're looking for. If you don't have them, it doesn't mean you're a poor employee. It doesn't mean you're going to be a bad candidate. It just means those keywords aren't there. They have enough there, and the system just filters those out, and here's the ones that have the key potential, and they'll go through it. If they don't find what they're looking for, then they may go for the next batch, depending on the software and parameters they set. So make sure you utilize that. There's a software program that sounds called Resume Maker, and it helps you put in the right format for Monster.com and all the other ones, so you know you're on a safe site. Okay, so initial and follow-up interviews, and a lot of interviews could be through a telephone. Don't look down at a telephone interview. The telephone interview, on the paper, I got a college degree, I've done this, I got all this. So I says, I haven't met you yet. I'm just going to call you and see how you talk. I call you and say, look, we're ready for the interview. They give you the time. You call them and say, okay, you're ready. Yep, yeah, man, I'm ready. Yeah, shoot, go ahead. Tell me what you want. Yeah, we're good. Go ahead. Hey, that does not sound professional. Yes, sir, I'm ready. Go ahead. That's a good question. Can I just restate the question and make sure that I understand it? And remember, this is how I learn. I never met the person, but I get a good feeling whether the individual is the type of person that I want to hire for it before I actually bring him into the interview. You also have outside headhunters, for lack of a better word, they come out and find individuals for companies for a fee. So they do all this, and they bring, here's the top 10 candidates we found, and then you could do a selection. Okay? Conducting background investigations, and usually the investigations don't happen until after we offer you the job, because it's too much costly. I got 50 and 20 people I'm interviewing. I'm not going to do a background investigation, only to the ones when I'm ready to offer the job, then I'll do it. Okay, obtaining results from physical exams and establishing trial probationary work periods. We're all, you get hired, you got 3 months, 6 months. Most employees are really good. Be good the first 6 months you're hired. Don't come in there and start giving trouble later, because I will just let you go. I don't have much invested. After 6 months or after the trial period, if you're the right candidate, I start investing more. Remember, because it costs me as an employer to get the wrong person in, and he or she's not happy, whatever reason. It could be the company, the policies, whatever, the employees, they leave, I lost money. It's like they come in and they go, and I got to start all over with the process, and that's not being very effective and efficient from a human resource management. Okay, now here, oops, mistakes by thing, I just throw it in there. I'll leave this up here, but don't worry about it. It's going to be, don't know, if they ask you what do you think Commonwealth Edison does? I don't know, let's see, what do you do? Hey, you should know what I'm doing. You're hiring for the company. Give basic information about the screening the calls, follow-up interview, reference checks, resume. You can't have any errors. Don't have one general resume. You adjust the resume. It's in a Word document. If I'm doing consulting, I'm trying to get a job doing consulting, or if I'm getting, it's the same thing. Consulting is no different than teaching businesses, but here I'm an instructor. I move my education stuff at the college down and bring up my adjust my resume so that my consulting is the first thing they see, and then the college, which is a reflection similar, is the second. You move your resume around, you change your opening statement, make it personalized to what the job is. Yes, I want this job, okay? And then your cover letter, again, cover letter short, don't give me 20 pages, that's what the resume is for. And the resume, 2 pages at most. You put too much in your resume. I'm saying the facts, if you don't have much, the software helps you, Resume Maker. I think it's like $30. You can probably find it at 20. But what happens if you get too much? I don't have to hire you. I know everything about you. Give me enough to whet my appetite. Man, he's got this degree. He's got this. What did he do? He just has one major thing. He must have done more, or she must have done more. So bring that in there. Keeping the right face on Facebook, like it or not. Yeah, sometimes they ask you to get into your Facebook account. A lot of times I can just go Dr. George Mochocki, see what pops up. You see, I do have a lot of YouTubes. I have a lot of other classes I teach. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. There may be some bad stuff coming up, but so the employer is going to judge. Some are good, but I don't see on Facebook I'm a party animal and I'm trying to get a job as in a religious institution, or more of a conservative. That's going to look bad for the company, and you may not get the job. Well, that's discriminatory. How would you know? I'm looking and said he's not the right fit. Remember, just because you got the qualification, you still have to fit. There are a lot of good-looking people, or a lot of people got the same skill sets. Which one do I think is going to fit? You all have the same qualification. That's not the issue. Now, am I diversifying? Now, how will he or she work by diversify a team, or whatever? I'm looking so I need both components: the education, the experience, and then I need that you have that personality, the team, that communication skill, that workable ability with other team members that aren't like yourself, in a diverse. Okay, in most colleges, community colleges, it's a very diverse atmosphere. So you say, have you worked in a diverse place? No, but I go to this college, I go to Harper, I go to College Lake County, whatever. I mean, the community colleges, usually you see it very diversified. Okay? Posting provocative or inappropriate pictures, information about drug use, excessive drinking, bad mouthing a previous employee. Even though the employer was a jerk, always say I'm going for advancement in my profession. I was limited. I only could grow so much. And mostly Generation Y and Generation X of Generation Y. Why do we have to do this? I'm only kidding. Generation X and Generation Y are basically they're going to be there. What motivates them? They're there for 5 years. They learn. Do you want to challenge another 5 years someplace else? But that's growth. That's growth. So I understand this generation likes to be mobile. They're not going to be tied down. So for 5 years, I will develop, and hopefully there'll be 10 years, maybe 20, 25 years. But a lot of them may want to change something else. That's okay. I understand that demographics, and I'll work with that demographic, because in this way I'm always a learning organization. I'm bringing new people with new skills. Remember, once I'm letting someone go, or they're promoting, when I'm hiring someone else in, this worked well. What do I need looking strategically going forward? Okay, contingent workers, I'll go real quickly, include part-time temporary workers. I teach at 2 schools. I'm a contractor, for lack of better words. My contract's every semester, give or take. So if you take me for a class, don't ask for a continuance or for next things, right? Because I basically may not be teaching their next thing. All right, so include part-time temporary. There are about 5.7 million contingent workers U.S. Majority of contingent workers are under 25. Most of you, or majority of my students, daytime or even online, are basically having 2 or 3 jobs. So you're contingent workers. When full-time workers are on leave, bring them in. Working during peak periods, that's one way to get your foot in the door. Then when there's an opening, I already know that he's a good worker, she's a good worker. I'll try to enhance them to apply for the full-time position, knowing that some don't like the full-time. They like that flexibility. In certain economics, having employee benefits, that's what the Affordable Care Act. If I have over 50 employees, I can follow all the rules. If I keep it under 50, just hire more temporary. I have to follow with the penalties, and the payment is not as high. Like it or not, remember, I'm a business owner, small or large. I'm looking at my bottom line, my bottom costs. Employees and expensive costs. What could I do with the different resources that are available to me, and not affect quality and service to my customer base and hurt my brand reputation. Motivation tips: temporary, perform well, promise full-time employment is a possibility. Okay, training and development. Part of HR, human relationship, like I am training you now. If you're taking a class, you have to train individuals. You're the first step. You come in there, you train them about the different discrimination laws. You train them about for lack of a better, our drug policy or violence in the workplace. Whatever, you're involved in the training. You're that neutral individual. Not only do you talk to individuals, help them with personal issues or personal problems that may affect their performance at work, you're also doing overall training for the company. And so training attempts for productivity by increasing employees' ability to perform. Training focuses on short-term skills. That's what you're doing. Develop focus on long-term ability. So you're involved in the training. You're looking to make sure it's not discriminatory. You're looking that it meets the goals. It's legal. It meets the goals of the organization and the legality of the laws of not only the government of the U.S., but also of the local, state, and municipalities. 3 steps in training: assessing organization needs, employee skills. Where are they at? Community college as an instructor, I got to find that balance. Some of this is your first class, some of this is maybe your last class, depending on how you took your schedule. I had to find that balance. Some of you have been in this field, some of you have no clue about this field, some of you are online students, some of you have never been an online student. So how do I find that balance? That's what a manager does. That's what companies have to do. How do I find the balance? I want real trained, but I want new people to come in with new ideas, looking at it differently, that may come up with a way to make me more effective and efficient. Okay, but I have to know their training, where they're at, and then so I don't want to be just saying, here's how you turn on the computer. Here's how you say. Most of you know how to do that. If you're not, I'm sorry. By this time, everyone knows. You've got smartphones, everything else. You know how to send emails and do that basic communication if you're in a workplace. Okay, designing training activities to meet those identified needs. What's my goals? What's my objective? When you're taking this course, you're learning everything about business overall, but also you're going to have the objectives. How do I communicate? How do I talk? How do I do a presentation? How do I submit a proposal or action plan, or in this case, a feasibility study in this course? Evaluating the training effectiveness. After the training, they go back. Do they know the skills? How quickly they forgot it? Which area should I focus in next time? Or maybe I need a retraining. I give them a lot of information, but now you understand all this, but you're still a little rusty, or you're not as productive or as self-confident in this one area, so we increase in that area. Okay, let me move you up. We're doing pretty good. I'm trying to get this underneath an hour. There's a lot in this chapter. Remember, I also teach HR at the community college. Just look me up, say Dr. George Mochocki, what classes he's taking. I'm a contractor. As long as classes, people sign up for my classes, that's what I do. I'm employed. Okay? All right, most commonly used training. If I look at commonly, training and development, orientation, HR, you do that. On-the-job training, distance learning, you're going to show them how to use a computer. You're going to show them how to access. Apprenticeship, you're part of the apprenticeship program. Make sure it's diversified. It's following all the legal requirements, not only of the government, but also for the union trade or the apprentice program or the goals that the organization set up, so they come back with the skills needed to do the job. Off-the-job training, online training, which you're doing now. So if you're taking these courses, a lot of businesses also, if you're at a workstation, between your lunches or between slow periods, you're doing training, and visible training and job simulation. Job simulations, you just follow along, and it depends how good the trainer is. Management training, when I look at you as HR or a managerial position, you're also training new managers, either their administrative or their staff manager, but you have to do some training process of training and educating, tracking the progress of their skills over time. So here, you want the next job, you have to be in this department for a while, you have to know this, you have to take these courses, you have to have some experience in this area. So you're kind of helping them with the career objectives, not only to help the employee to grow within the company, but also to be able to have the right employees when we need them down the road, because someone's retiring, or someone's promoting, or someone may just leave to another job, or they just want out, or whatever. There's a lot of reasons people leave the organization, or I got to fire them and I need somebody else. So that's the last resort, right? But there's still, even if I fire, do I follow the laws? Do I show that individual respect and dignity that he or she deserved? It just didn't work out for us. It's whatever reason, your skills, the mind in it, your attitude, or whatever didn't work out to the company and to the, for lack of a better word, your organization behavior or culture that they're looking for. Okay, on the job managers, a lot of time on the job coaching, understudy positions, job rotations. We're in a flat organization. We've learned that a couple of chapters back. So there's not that many levels for promotion. So how do I motivate and keep that mind and keep that employee stimulated and interested in the organization? I came out of construction, went over to engineering, went over to customer service. So now I'm a well-rounded person. So when I take over a district or a department that needs these different functionality, I understand them because they're employees that work underneath me. I don't have to specifically know every aspect, but I know how they work or how they think. So now when I manage and I communicate, I could give them a general message, knowing the different markets, different parts of my team will understand that. Okay? The next one, why good employees quit, and that's another reason. Unhappy with management, number one. That's why unions come in. Unions don't come in if management's treating employees well. Why would I need a union? I'm paying for something, and I'm getting everything above and beyond what the union could offer me. Okay? Limited advancement, no recognition. The recognition would be some, hey, George, you did a great job. Hey, Sally, you did a great job. Inadequate salary and benefits. That, remember when we talked about not Maxwell Herzberg, he's looking at job contents, the job. Salary is a hygiene, but if I'm paying you low, once I pay you, what other motivation to get you going? But it's still pay is still something I have to look at the beginning to at least solidify them for the year. I know my raises don't come as much, may not be the best motivating for the long term, but it's the best motivating for now, so they stay for the year. But over a year, once I get my raise, am I going to be motivated every day? I got my pay. The next raise is at the end of the year. I'll be nice to my boss closer to the end. That doesn't work. So I have different kind of bonuses or motivation strategy that HR helps managers and helps implement for the organization. So I have these little tokens or rewards going forward to keep the individual motivated. Okay, boredom. I'm bored of my job enrichment, job rotation, job enlargement. No specific reason. I just don't like this anymore, and I'm going to leave. And then the chart was in here, and it tells you the different percentage, right? So this large unhappy with manager, large percentage. So your manager has a big difference. 33% limited advancement. You can only go so far. And that's where career objectives. Here, take these courses. You have a potential, or we'll offer some classes. And no specific reason is where. I think it's this one here. What's yellow? Oh, boredom. Very small board. Usually we do a lot in a lot of organizations. Okay? Now, using networks and mentoring. When I'm doing networking, establishing, maintaining contact, this course is a good network. Learn to other people in uniform. You communicate. You see their picture. You see their face. Remember, make sure you update your profile in Blackboard. If you're taking me online, that's part of the requirement. You update it. If you're not, still update your profile. Give some extra points for that. So in business, you have to know who the other individual is. I don't care. The business I come in already, there's George. Oh, that's George, right? You want your face recognition because that's how you're going to get your next promotion. If I want to promote somebody else, even though I heard about you but never saw you in action, odds are, and I saw Sally always doing these presentations. Hey, you're both qualified equally. You're both a diverse candidate. I may hire Sally just because. Remember, it's not only me hiring. It's other people that have to vote, other peers, because that person could be in my department, but down the road, he or she will be progressing to other departments or be moving up the ladder within this succession planning strategy that HR has developed. Okay? The next thing, mentors. When you have a mentor, managers who supervise and coach, sometimes you could be a mentor. It's hard to be a supervisor and mentor at the same time because I'm looking at you to help you, but I'm also evaluating you. Mentor should not be in a position that evaluates or grades the individual. So if I'm mentoring, let's say I'm in a department, the person who, I can't mentor my own employees because I'm also the disciplinary and the reward individual. I may mentor a person from another department and help him or her. Hey, here's what you got to look out. I don't have, but then it's more of an open. It's easier for that person to talk to me because I'm not basically looking at them for strictly job performance. At both community colleges, they use adjunct instructors to train and do something for new adjunct instructors, even though there's full-time instructors there. And this helps also the adjuncts feel comfortable coming to me. I'm not grading you. I'm just saying, here's what you have to look out for. Here's the process. Here's the training. And now I could help them through a mentor process because I'm not evaluating them. Like it or not, you can't mentor and evaluate through the same hat. I'm, okay, you're doing okay, but now I got to write you up on that. Okay? And women have a hard time finding, because we're going to have to get glass ceiling. So what I'm looking for, a mentor should be someone like, say, if English is second language, I'm Polish born, so they're trying to find someone who English is second language, I could relate to, who grew up in Chicago, went through the same kind of system, so that I could mentor, I could help them along. Where women are having some problems, not that many women, and they're getting there, but in a higher managerial level, so your mentor's going to be a man. So if a man is mentoring a woman, he can't really, not saying that they don't, but they, I've never walked in your shoes or understand what it's like, but I could help you. And a lot of times the women, what the researchers find out, is picking up the attributes of men. When we talked about leaders, right? If I slam like this, all of a sudden they slam, and to me I'm aggressive. It's acceptable for a woman, she will be called the queen lady or the bee lady, not for beautiful. Okay? Okay, so the next one, performance appraisal. When I'm looking, oh geez, we got a lot. I better get talking a little bit faster. I'm going to finish it. When I'm looking at performance appraisal, evaluation that measures employee performance in order to make decisions about promotions against established standards and compensating training termination. Middle manager, here's my goals. At the hourly workers, here's the goals. Here's the quality. And so you have to have some kind of performance appraisal, so you know if you're not meeting them, you're not going to get the full pay or you're not going to get the bonuses. Okay, 360 degree is something that was brought in just to help me for developmental. 360 degrees in a lot of organization, about 20% of my overall performance. So they ask people who work for me, how do I react? It was like a student teacher's evaluation opinion there. Or they ask their peers, how does he work with them? Does he share his employees, his resources if I need it? And they ask people above me and people below me. They ask my vendors. And now they get a 360. How does George work? Because George is always nice when the boss is around, but behind there he is the person from whoever, Hades or whatever, or hell for lack of better words. What did I do? You know what I mean? So 360 works well. It keeps me honest. I don't give away the ship, but I'm still respectful and courteous, and I try to be a good communicator. Okay? They understand a lot of things I can't do in the department because I got to go to my boss or something else. But other things I should be able to play nicely with everybody else. 6 steps in performance appraisals, and remember I already went through this. Establish the standards that are reasonable and measurable and reasonable. This big thing, measurable and reasonable. This one's understandable. When I'm looking at the standards, if you make the standards, there's no way they could achieve those unless they lie, cheat. You're already creating an ethical environment and a stressful environment for that employee. Clearly communicate the standards. You understand the standards. We have people of different cultures. Here's what I need. Like I'm doing with those who take me in a forum. So you have to communicate to on different days, not on the same day. I'm looking for 9 posts within the week. So you got the smartphone. I don't want it all one day. So that's the standard. If not, you're not going to get the full 20 points because the forums replaced a lecture room, and I want just as much interaction. And this interaction between the students, not interaction with me. How do you interact with other team members? Most people do well with the instructor or your boss. I'm monitoring the forum. If you're not interacting with other people, you respond to my posts first, and then you respond to others. I threw that in for my online classes. And in the classroom, you should be more, instead of a wallflower, talk to me. Discussing the results with employees, taking corrective actions, and then using the results to make decisions. It's fair. You always know where they're at. Okay, performance appraisal, major use, identify training needs. If I see a person has any kind of performance appraisal, they're always going to say, where do I need improvement? Mine is basically better listening skills. I love to talk. Most instructors, when you be quiet. Here I kind of like this because I'm talking to you knowing that you can't talk back. That's why I could get a lot done. In the classroom, I like that communication. I try to stimulate you to talk. In the forum, I want you to give me your feedback. Give other feedback to an individual. Constructive feedback. Respectful feedback, no cussing, no yelling. Don't get upset because the customers, they sometimes may push your buttons. Employees may push your button. You're in HR. You're supposed to be calm. Yes, you absorb. Not mad at me. They're mad at my company policies. Maybe I should change them. Promotional tool, recognition for workers' achievement, firms hiring practice, where are we short on, what do we need? We've been training them on engineers, inside, outside. Maybe we should bring them from the outside, from this school or from whatever that has a higher caliber or higher quality of individuals, whatever. Maybe we should raise the standards or lower the standards. Judge effectiveness of the firm's orientation process, uses basis for possible termination. Okay? Used as a basis for possible termination. Appraisal mistakes. Contrast effect, comparing one employee with another. We always do that, like in teams. Remember, when you're doing your appraisals, I always would like my rule is 75% objective. I could do it. Did you do this on time? Tasks that could be very measurable. 25% or 20% subjective. That is he a team member or is she a team member? If you say, well, you're not a team member, first thing you say, why not? Well, show me examples. Give me why? Because you're just not. That doesn't help you, right? You're not a team member because you're not communicating. You're always yelling. You're flipping on the classroom, or you pout through the whole thing if you don't get your way. That's and here's okay. So here's where you have your need some improvement for training. So I'll send you to something on communication or interaction skill or team building class, how to work with other individuals. Just something I'll do to help you so you're successful going forward. Okay, compensation programs, when you really like it, attracts kinds of employees the business needs, builds an incentive to work effectively and efficiently, and keeps value employees from going to competitors. You know, competitors, hey, yeah, sure, go there. I may pay $1 less, but I'm paying you. Look at all the benefits. You got daycare, you even got pet care. You bring your pet in here, and someone will watch him while you're working, and you come play with them at what do you call it, during lunch break. Hey, don't laugh. A lot of companies are already doing that. You have the workforce. You have empty nesters. They've got pets, or their children, or their main affection, or main responsibility. Want to take care of. You know, it's a connection with them. So I offer that, and hey, okay, it's going to cost me so much to take them to doggy care. Or you got grandparents. You got some places that will basically help you grandparents or people that are living at home and have some kind of facilities for you. So why would you leave? You'd have that. Okay, starting your own firm, keep value important from going to competitors, or starting your own firm. Maintain a competitive marketplace by keeping costs low due to high productivity from satisfied workers. Look, if I'm constantly retraining, I'm never going to get that momentum going. Provide employee financial security through wages and fringe benefits. Okay, types of pay. I'm going to go real quickly in this. You know, piecework, hourly, day work, commission, bonus, profit sharing, gains, and stock options. We went through that. Compensating teams. Again, teams could get a certain percentage, depend what percentage, what input they had in achieving that goal. Okay, team base pay is increased as skills increase. Eastman Chemical uses this system. It's in a book. Look at it. Gain sharing, pay is increased as performance increase. Nora still uses this system. Okay, fringe benefits. Here's all the fringe benefits. Pension health plan. You see a lot of them going to 401 or IRAs that they're offering. Sick leave, vacation, sick leave, paid vacation, additional compensation to employees beyond base wages. In 1920, fringe benefits accounted 2% of payroll. Now it's 30%. I'd like to say it's dropping a little because people have cut down the benefits. People would rather have more money, but there's a balance, and there's still kind of hovering around 30-35%. Healthcare has been the most significant increase in benefit costs, right? So it's going to cost me so much. That's why when you're looking at it, temporary or contingent workers, after 50, do I hire another employee? But after a while, I may need that other employee because it just makes more sense, and I'll have to compensate everyone for that. Okay, that's something HR is giving me. Hey, this is we're growing. We're going to have to do this. Here's the strategic approach that's social responsible and ethical, not only to our customer base but everyone else. Okay, cafeteria-style base doesn't mean they have a cafeteria. It allows employees to choose benefit they want up to a certain amount, like outside haircut, free meals at work, doggy care, on-site. When I'm looking at cafeterias thing, if I have insurance and my wife has insurance, someone else is already picking up the insurance, I may go as a co-insurer, second insurance, or I may not want the dental, just give me the money, or use that money for a better insurance. So you have a base plan. How, it's like you pay. How much you want to? How do you want to divvy this up? Okay. Knowing that you have two incomes to the people working in different organizations. Now, if I'm looking at flex time, I'm going to go real quickly. Flex time gives employees freedom to choose which hours to work as long. Let me put it over here. Excuse me. Easier to read. As long as they do the required work. Most select times require hard to incorporate into shift work. You can't do that in shift work. Communication among employees can be difficult because remember, I always have someone that's got to be in the core time. All employees are expected to be their job. If I look at the core time for like a retail store, let's say Walmart, is between 11 and 1 o'clock where people go to lunch, and then again from 3 o'clock to maybe 6 o'clock they're coming home. I'm in traffic, let's go to Walmart, buy my stuff, and by the time out traffic hopefully is slowed down. Compressed work, employees work full number of hours, but in fewer standard days. Instead of working 8 hours 5 days a week, I work 4 days at 10 hours. That works out well, but what research has showed, once I start working 10 hours, I just make my day longer, so I do less work. I just make it, stretch it out a little bit. So it works for the short term. Some companies it works well, others don't. If you got customer service, working with customers, they want 24 hours. I may have a different kind of a work schedule. I could have two, more of a flexible rotating type of shift. It's just something to think about. Job sharing lets two or more part-time employees show a full-time job. Both of them don't want it. They want to stay home, or they're whatever their commitment is. They've already retired. And that's what you have. They've done that. They just want a little extra work. So they have two employees doing the same work. You have to, it's like a partnership. You have to be able to find the right people who will work together. For many who cannot work full-time because of whatever reason, workers tend to be enthusiastic and productive. Absenteeism and tardiness are reduced. Employees can schedule part-time workers in peak demand. Okay? Movement employees. Employees are promoted or reassigned. Employees are terminated due to performance, economic conditions. Employees retire. I have to be aware of that, not before it happens. Do I replace the position, or do I change my process and do an enrichment or enlargement or something? Is this the right timing, or do I hold off until something happens? Okay? Terminating employees. Employees are hesitant to hire full-time employees because workers because the cost of termination. That's not only to fire the person, not only to sue them. It's also the workman's comp and everything else. Because if I'm terminating them and they say, hey, whatever reason, I could collect unemployment insurance. Remember, from a business perspective, unemployment insurance is paid by the employer. So the more people who are collecting on it or going in there, my rates go up just like at a car accident. I'm not trying to put it that way. It's just the way the policy works. Firing an employee is more difficult for employees because laws prevent termination of certain acts, and that depends on the size of the organization. Once you're over 50, you fall into a lot of rules. Under 50 is still considered a small business or mom and pop. Look at the requirements, what they consider small business. Even the book gave a small business, not only just because of a sale. Because if I'm a realtor in Barrington or Lake Forest, and all my houses I'm only selling the high end, $1 million up or $2 million, I can make $100 million real quickly by selling what do you call it? 10 homes or something. All right, or 11 homes within the year, depending on the price range. Okay, so that takes care of our thing. Oh, geez, we covered everything. I think I made it within an hour. Let me just go in here real quickly. I'll bring this down and I'll expand this to level 1. Remember, those of you who are logging in here, try to sign up at the community college. Look me up so I can get the classes. This helps pay off my student loans and other things. Okay, so let's see. I think I went at 75. So we covered all this information. You have it in here. It's an overview of what you had. Put on your information on here. So this week we covered Chapter 11, Human Resources. This is part of a series of 20 chapters with an Introduction to Business, a survey course, or what I call a smorgasbord. You get to learn the fundamentals of all businesses, how to interact and how the different functions interact, so you understand businesses from a global, for a large view. I'm just covering over different aspects. Each one of the chapters within this series are full courses you could take me at. So again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Chapter 11, Human Resource Management, and this is part of the Introduction to Business. And I'll see you in our next chapter. It's either depending on which college you're teaching me. I think the next one is one may be on labor relations, and the other one we may jump into what do you call it? Marketing, for lack of better words. Okay, so I'll see you online, and thank you for taking the class, and look me up and go to community colleges. You could learn a lot. You have a lot of community colleges are very in tune to what's needed to help you not only progress to your bachelor's and going forward. Remember, I graduated from community college. I dropped out of high school, and this community college got me back on. And now I got my associate, I got my bachelor's, I got my master's, and I have my doctoral. And that's all. So why do you tell me that? We all make mistakes in life. We all do different things in life. But hey, I'm a business person. Shake it up. I messed up. Go forward. Don't whine about it. Don't cry about it. If you don't do well in this class, take another instructor, or take another class, or take it over again until you get it. We're not experts in everything else. We're unique, but that's how we learn. Part of learning is once in a while you don't do as well, but you always pick up and go. That's what a business is looking for. That's what I'm looking at. That risk taker, right? If you're not a risk taker, you're never going to move ahead. Again, in HR, if you want HR as a whole discipline, this is a good discipline. It's a person who likes to work with people. It likes to solve issues between individuals, helps people out, looks at everything else, and you touch everyone within your organization. Similar when I was in marketing, I touch everyone. So it's a good thing to come to an organization to learn the insides out and the true nature and culture of our organization. I'll see you next week. Bye.